Ready? Nog and I have been reading about the Pilgrim's Progress. The Pilgrim is called Christian, and he went on a massive journey to find the celestial city. You see, he's reading in a book that the city he's living in is going to be destroyed with fire and burnt. So he set out on a long journey to find the celestial city. His family couldn't believe what was going to happen to him, so they left him to go alone. Poor Christian. For a long time he travelled with a huge burden on his back. He could hardly stand upright, could he? It was so heavy he struggled across fields, down lanes, through marshes, and even through a bog of despond. Poor Christian. People joined him for some of this journey, but they never stayed the distance. They went home or lost their way forever. He walked under fiery mountains that rained down bolts of fire on him, and he learnt lessons of others who had gone this way and failed. So shocking. He came across a tomb, and as he was looking up at the cross by it, his burden fell right off his back. He felt so free, and he skipped and he sang for ages after that. He was really happy. But even when you're sure of who you are and where you're going, it can be hard to find the right way, can't it? Christian found himself walking past chained up lions. That was so scary. He stayed the night in a palace, and the people who were kind to him looked after him well and sent him on his way with a sword and a shield and armour. Gosh, they knew he was going to have to fight some hard battles. And we have not even spoken about the beast he met in the lonely valley. Yikes. I thought it might be too much for you guys. But the beast, Apollyon, wanted to be king over Christian's life, and it was all Christian could do to stand his ground. He managed one final blow with his sword, and the beast flew away. Phew. God sent Christian to the tree of life, and he pressed its leaves into his wounds, and he was healed immediately. Wow. And last week, Christian struggled his way through the valley of the shadow, with the air full of weird voices and the rush of unseen wings. It was full of pitfalls, traps, and nets to tangle him. The ground crumbled several times, and he was almost swallowed up completely. He met a giant called Godless, who snacked on people and loved the taste of Pilgrim's blood. What? The giant was so old and stiff and could no longer chase Pilgrims, so Christian escaped that one. Phew. He caught up with another pilgrim from the city of destruction called Faithful and journeyed on with him through the wood. A man named Evangelist popped up here and there and encouraged him and guided him always. And it was him who said, "Beware of this next city called Vanity. One of you pilgrims will die there." Who will it be? Let's read on and we'll see. So, there was a fair all year round in the town of Vanity. Like other fairs, there were stalls and all sorts of trinkets and knickknacks for sale, gold and silver, baubles and precious stones. Cheats and thieves and pickpockets moved busily among the crowds, and the air was full of swearing and cursing. Christian and Faithful had to pass through this fair. Hoping they would go unnoticed, they pulled up their collars around their faces, but the crowd was quick to spot them. First, they made fun of their strange clothes. Then they mocked their foreign accents. Finally, they shouted angrily, "Why aren't you buying our goods? Buy, buy, buy!" "We only buy truth," they said, and stuck their fingers in their ears, and that made the people even angrier, and a riot broke out. The mayor soon heard the noise. "Arrest those villains and take away their weapons," he ordered. Officers threw Faithful and Christian into a cage, stuck their feet in stocks. As they sat there, people came and threw rubbish at them. Poor Christian and Faithful. They encouraged each other by saying, "Trust the Lord." But this enraged the crowd even more, who started to yell, "Try them, try them." Do you want to see them in the cage? Oh, it looks a bit scary, doesn't it, with that angry mob? Yeah. So, Christian and Faithful had to go to court before a judge. The judge was called Hate Good. who called for witnesses. The first witness was called Envy. He pointed a long finger at Faithful. "My lord," he said, "I have known this man for a long time." This was a lie. "He is one of the most evil people in this whole country." The second witness was Superstition. "This prisoner says that our religion is nonsense," he cried. The third witness was Mr. Crawler. "Your worshipful lordship, sir," he said, "and all you very fine gentlemen, I hear this ruffian say things he ought never to have said. He was rude about our noble Prince Beelzebub and his esteemed friends, Lord Deluxe, Lord Dirty Mind, and Sir Have It Greedy." It was clear that Faithful had been picked on by the witnesses, so the judge turned on him too. Oh gosh. "You have heard these very fine gentlemen witness against you," he said. "You are obviously a desperate criminal, but I'll hear what you have to say for yourself." "Okay." "Your laws," said Faithful, "are clean against God's word." At this, the judge told the jury to reach a verdict. "Mr. Blindman said, I clearly see this man is crazy." "Away with him," said Mr. No Good. "Yes," said Mr. Nasty, "I hate the look of him." "Hang him, hang him," said Mr. Headstrong. "Hanging is too good for him," said Mr. Cruelty. So they found him guilty and killed him. But in a dream, I saw a chariot waiting for Faithful. He was taken up and flew through the clouds to the sound of trumpets. He arrived first at the celestial city, and the king gave him a crown, the crown of life. Wow. Meanwhile, what had happened to Christian? A man called Hopeful was so impressed by Faithful and Christian, he helped Christian to safety and helped him get safely away. So now Christian and Hopeful walked on together. The road took them near the city of fine speech, and 4 of its most untrustworthy people came out to meet them, bowing low. "We too are going to the celestial city," they said. "We should indeed be glad of your company." Hopeful was all for joining them, but Christian had heard in their city they worshipped money. He also recognised one of the men as Mr. Facing Both Ways, a friend of Mr. Moneylove. So Christian whispered in Hopeful's ear, "I don't like the look of them one bit. They're not as nice as they seem." So making their excuses, they hurried on. And we'll see what happens next on Christian's journey next week. Bye-bye.